Hi, everybody. This is Tim Packman with the Garage Shop Insider. We have a great podcast coming up for you right now. Darrell Waltrip. We have more from him talking about today's racing and broadcasting today. You definitely want to hear what he has to say. So you get out of the car, all of a sudden they say, hey, here's a microphone. Go sit in the booth and talk about racing, something you've been a part of.
Yeah, well, see, I don't think a lot of guys. There's some. Well, first of all, we didn't have the opportunity to get comfortable in that kind of environment. These guys today, because of Fox and then some of the other networks, let these guys come in and do a Saturday race with good leaders. You know, whether it's Adam Alexander, Mike Joy, whoever it is, with somebody there to guide them. We didn't have that. My mentor was Ken Squire.
Great guy.
And when I started, because look, people would always say, you talk too much. I said, no, I don't. The other guys don't talk at all.
No.
And it just seems like I talk too much. It's not really that way at all. But I always, because I love the sport and I know the sport. I've owned teams. I've promoted races. I've been a champion. I've been I've done every. I think I've won about every award you can win. The Bill France Award of Excellence, Myers Brothers. When you've done all those things, you just have so much experience. And the people I worked with, Jake Elder was crazy, and Herb Nabb and Bud Moore and Tim Brewer and Barry Dotson and Buddy Parrott, for heaven's sake, and Larry Carter. Wow. I've worked with some incredibly good people, and every day's a story. I mean, I get up in the morning, I wonder what this day is going to be about, because it's always about something.
What do you miss most about calling the races, being in the booth?
Yeah, I do miss going to the track. I had a lifestyle. I went to the track for I drove for all those years, and then when I retired and I went in the TV booth, it was good to still be a part of the sport, maybe even a bigger part than I'd been before as a driver. The coach, the nights and the days you spent on the coach, the drivers coming by and visiting, talking about the race and what was going to happen. Just that atmosphere and that environment of being a part of it. See, when I first started, I'd go in a hotel and they'd say, "Are you here with the show?" And I'd say, "No, ma'am, I am the show." And so I had to learn how to be with the show.
Because you were one of many.
That's right.
So you still watch the races today?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. I act like I don't,
okay.
But I watch most every race. Yeah, I watch. If it's on TV, I watch it.
Okay. What do you think of the racing today? And you have Clint Boyer's in there now, and he's a former driver like yourself. And he's in there, being Clint Boyer.
It'd be nice if he'd add something, but so far.
How do you say that?
Look, Boyer's one of my best, but I love him to death. He's funny. He's a funny guy. Okay. But I don't know that he's added anything. He's added a lot of humor.
Right.
But, Mike Joy and Jeff Gordon needed that.
Right.
That's kind of was my job.
Yes.
Keep them light, keep them loosened up. Because Mike and Jeff were like a couple of reporters. Right. And, the weather today and the track today and the tires today.
Mike is a reporter. That's how we started.
That's right. So it's good to have Boyer in there to poke fun at him and make, get things going the way he does. But, I don't know. The racing is – I haven't raced in 20 years. What do I know? It's not like what we did. It's just not.
So this is something just came to me as we're sitting here. We take, the Icky Shuffle when you win. We take the Jaws moment. We take the 2001 end of the 500 with the comment you made after Dale. Your brother wins and the comment you made about Dale. What do you think is your most iconic Darrell Waltrip moment through all the years?
I think there's a number of races that, just blow me away when I think about Talladega, where they were 8 wide, 8 cars come across the finish. But I think the Darlington race between Kurt Busch and Ricky Craven, those last few laps of that race, and Mike Joy saying, "Have you ever?" And I said, "No, I've never." And the way that race unfolded and ended, that was exciting and fun to do.
So as you just heard, Darrell Waltrip had plenty to say about today's racing and the broadcasting. But you know what? When we were in Arkansas, we met R.J. Gottlieb, who drives a 68 Z28 Camaro, a mere 250 miles an hour. You definitely want to hear what he has to say. Okay, I've been waiting to talk to this guy all weekend. The minute I saw this car, this badass Camaro behind us right here with the wing on it, Z28, I'm telling you, the driver, owner, R.J. Gottlieb is here. R.J., tell us about the car and how the weekend's gone for you.
Well, thank you so much. Flattery will get you everything you ever wanted.
Perfect,
So.
I'm all about
but
that.
yes, this is a car that me and my dad started when I was a teenager. It's been in a lot of famous races, a lot of diverse kind of races, and still racing it today, having a lot of fun with it. Always trying to make it go faster and do additional types of things. You know, we've done Pikes Peak and La Carrera, and Silver State Challenge is very well known for. And we're here in Arkansas to do another runway event, and we've done a number of these. We do the half mile, the mile, and the mile and a half.
Okay.
And at this event, they're doing the 2 kilometers, so it's very interesting. It's kind of a new thing for us. So far, we've done 249 in the 2 kilometer. It's kind of a European thing, kilometers instead of miles, but we're proud of it, and you know, we want to take it out again, and we think we can beat it. So, kind of coming down to stuff like the wing, aerodynamics, you know, and fine-tuning the engine, you know, I hope this will be the run.
So
go faster.
You talk about La Carrera there. Wasn't there something that happened there years ago where you kicked the ass of all the exotics and the Porsches?
Yes, and
so what happened? Because that's where they got the
So
name
that's
Outlaw
really how
Racer.
the car. Yeah,
Okay.
that's really how the car got known. Is that it was the first race we put it in. Actually built the car for. It was the La Carrera Classic down in Mexico,
Right.
and it was about a 125-mile race, and even through curvy parts through the mountains. But you know, there were a lot of exotic cars showed up at the time, like Ferraris, Porsches, Corvettes, even like Panteras, that kind of thing. And we showed up with a 69 Camaro, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, you know,"
How
they
cute.
didn't really expect. Yeah, they didn't expect that much out of us, and we won the race. And the next year, the guy said, "Oh, your car is too modified," so they didn't allow us to come back to the La Carrera the year after. And my dad actually went and started the Silver State Classic after that because he was so upset that they wouldn't have us in the race. And since that time, people are saying it's the Outlaw Racer because they outlawed us from the La Carrera. So ever since then, it's been known as the original Outlaw Racer.
Now this car is also, it wasn't used for, I was put in a museum for a while, wasn't it? And,
It was,
And then
you
you
know.
pulled it back out and put it back into action.
You know, me and my dad raced it for years, really got it going, and it was known in the Hot Rod magazine and this kind of thing. And eventually my dad got a little bit tighter on money, and I went back to college and the graduate program, and we just, you know, we didn't want to sell the car, so my dad loaned it actually to a casino in Laughlin, where it was on display for about 7 years. And finally, you know, things started to get better with both me and my dad. I was out of school, and we were like, hey, why don't we go get it and bring it back and start racing it again? And we did. And I was very surprised to realize that when we brought the car back after 7 years of not running it or doing anything or any magazine articles, the car was there was more interest in the car than ever. And I kind of never got over that. And I realized at that time that we really had something, and we decided to really promote the car and get more into the fact that it was known as Big Red, the original Outlaw Racer. And we even did a TV series. And you can still get it on Amazon and Pluto. And it really tells the true story of the car.
So, and I know this car is like famous, virtually internet, you know, car clubs, racers everywhere. Where did the wing come into play? Where did that say?
That's very recent. That's
okay.
our most recent thing. You know, a lot of this really high-speed stuff we're doing, we've discovered with the computer and the telemetry that the car, you know, the car thinks it's going, you know, even at 250 miles an hour, but the actual speed traps will say 235. Or even at times we actually even thought we were doing 265 and it was really doing 250. And what was happening is the tires were spinning at that speed. And obviously that's not something we want, and we've done a lot with the car to try to make it hook up at speed. But the problem is there's so much friction with the flat front of the car and the high angle windshield. You know, we're not like the GT40s and the Lamborghinis and stuff that have much better aero, you know, and we don't want to change that because then it wouldn't be Big Red, it wouldn't be the 69 Camaro. But we have run that problem, so we're trying to figure out a way to get more rear traction at top speed. And the wing was an obvious choice. And it is helping us because we've actually been able to slow down the slip, although it's still slipping. We've gotten it down to about 5 miles an hour of spin. But the problem is I think we're creating more drag now because of the wing. And so it's a balance, and we're still playing with that balance, and you know, that's kind of always been the challenge with the car. You know, we keep, each time we have new challenges, we make new changes, and we try to go a little bit faster than we've gone before. And we actually, our fastest it's ever gone is in the 1.5 miles at the Mojave Magnum, and we did 266.2.
Okay.
And you know, people always say, well, what are you going to do with it next? I say, hey, beat what we've done before. You know, either a time around a track or top speed or whatever it is. So this is the speed one. So you know, we've got 249 in the 2 kilometer, so we'll try to beat it now.
As a driver, like, what's it like to go 266, 250 miles an hour? Like, do you like sense that you're going that fast, or you just kind of go and keep it straight and
Well,
at the
one
end
thing
wait for your time?
they say about the human brain is that when you do something like that, really intense, and do it, that your brain slows things down.
Right.
And you know, I think after doing it so much that I've gotten good at it in a sense. And you know, I think a lot of it is just being relaxed and knowing what you're doing and being comfortable with the car, comfortable with the team. And we've done it for decades, and so you know, we're at that point. Not to say that things can't still happen, but you know, we try to be really careful with everything we do, and you know, try to be what we did before.
All right, go back. You talk about college. What was your degree in college? What did you go to school for?
well,
Can't go to school for this.
Yeah, no, I actually went to UC Santa Barbara. I got a degree in economics,
Okay.
and eventually I went to Indiana University and got my master's of business administration and finance.
Okay.
And that I've done well in that, and it's helped me continue, you know, all the stuff that my dad started by him doing well in business. And that was a little bit, we're not the typical racing family in a sense, but you know, my dad was always very passionate about the cars. As a kid, I loved what we were doing together with the cars, and it's just something that's become a part of us ever since.
So when you see people come up and they look at the car and the reaction that you get from it, what's that like, knowing that but it's been in your family for so long, and your mom, you know, was in a museum or a casino, and now all of a sudden it's back out again. What's that mean for you, because it's such a part of your life?
It's really been great. It's really something special that I think that I get to have that a lot of racers don't get to have, is this special car, you know, because racing is usually only about the driver and sort of secondarily about the car. But with me, the car is actually more well known than I am. And often, you know, if I walk around the street, people don't know I'm RJ Gottlieb. But if I have my suit on, I'm standing next to that car, then they do. It's almost like I'm Superman, I'm Clark Kent. I put on the suit, and when I put that on, everyone knows who I am.
And
And
you're okay
otherwise,
with-
I can walk around in anonymity. But no, it is really great because people come up to me, and I can't tell you how often I hear the same kinds of stories where guys tell me, I remember this back from the 80s. You know, they're always younger. You know, they're saying, well, I was younger with my dad, with this. And, you know, you look at, we go to these car shows and events like this, and there'll be Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and stuff, and everyone will crowd around Big Red.
Yeah.
And people even ask me, they go, why is that? And I said, it's because who's driven a Lamborghini? I go, no one's ever driven it. I go, you come to a first generation Camaro like this, I said, everyone comes up, they tell me about the project they had, the one they had with their dad, and they sold it, and then they bought one back, and they did this and did that, or how they ruined their marriage because they wouldn't stop working on it or whatever. But everyone has a story about it, and they know this car. So when they come up to it, they're like, I'm familiar with this car in a way that none of the other exotics mean anything to me. And so when we were able to take it out and beat the exotics, then that was really the dream that got people interested in the car.
So if you've been through in the casino, is it safe to say we're going to keep going with this? Big Red's-
Absolutely.
Big Red's
No,
staying in
and
action?
now it's gotten to the point where we've figured out who we are and what we're doing, and we're always looking for new challenges.
Okay.
Yeah, we did Pikes Peak in 2017.
How'd that go?
Yeah, it went great. We finished 4th in our class, and with a time of 11:08. A lot of people, when they saw the car, they were like, he's not going to break 13 minutes. And not in a bad way. They were just like, with that car, like, no. But of course, they never realize how well we can handle and brake, and you know that this isn't a typical '69 Camaro.
Perfect.
In fact, this car, this car started pro touring. You know, that whole thing of hot rodding was that had these big, massive engines, but they couldn't handle or brake very well. And you know, one thing my dad really pushed is that he was like, hey, I want to have an old car that's an American muscle car, but you know, not have it handle, you know, handle like the exotic cars. And then we really went with all race parts, and that's why it really does, and that's why we can compete with them not only in the speed but also in handling. And the guys that really took credit for starting pro touring, which there's a couple of them, Tony Huntemer, and they say, you know, the car that they started was done because of this car.
Right.
So even the pro touring guys that started pro touring say, hey, you know, whoever started it, this was car number one, because this is what encouraged people to go and do their own car that can handle and brake and do all that.
I appreciate it. But I just want to say this car has a lot of memories for a lot of people, and we look forward to hearing more memories that you guys are going to make with Big Red.
We make them at every event. Thanks so much.
Thank you, RJ. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We are going outside of the American soil. We're talking to a late model driver from Luxembourg. The population there is 600,000 people, but as of right now, it's 599,999 because we have one of the guys here for the next few months. Jill, how do I pronounce it?
They say Jill.
Jill.
Yeah.
So I say
that's
Gil,
right.
I'm okay?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think for the American it's
Gil Linster.
Yeah.
First of all, thanks for being part of the Garage Shop Insider Podcast here. You spent 2 years in Euro NASCAR driving there. And the first year you were in the top 10 in points. Second year, top 5 in points. So obviously some progress there. Luxembourg to Denver, North Carolina, Aaron Brown's, the Garage Shop. How did it happen?
Yeah, that was a long way. I started like in Euro NASCAR, moving over to some oval races in Europe. And then I met Aaron Brown. I drove for a team and he worked for those teams. And yeah, so we met, we worked together. We had not the best car for this race, but yeah, I tried to do my best. Aaron did an amazing job, and then
So
we come
he helped
together.
out on the mechanical side, setups and things like that?
He did like a fantastic job. We had like a very bad car, but yeah,
Okay.
then everything comes together.
How did you get your interest in Luxembourg? How did you begin an interest in racing?
Wow, since I'm a kid, my father was in racing, and yeah, since I was a kid,
What did he race?
in 1965 Ford Mustang.
Okay.
So yeah, and I started with go-kart, always indoor go-kart. We never had the budget to really like doing professional things.
All right.
And yeah, then just starting from there, growing up
Okay.
until 18, and then I was able to drive his car, his race car.
Oh, so you had to wait till you're 18 till you could actually drive
Yeah,
the car?
no.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
with 18 I was able to run the first time a car on track.
Okay.
So yeah,
How was that?
yeah, great. It was like the 1965 Mustang.
Uh-huh.
It was the best school for me. I had like no ABS, nothing
Right.
around could help me, and that was the best school. And I'm super happy now to drive it, because now the cars that I drive right now are like a little similar than this one.
So what type of cars are you driving right now?
Right now it's like the late model.
Okay.
Yeah, for the moment I'm full-time now for the late models, so I'm 100% focused on learning the ovals and yeah.
So when Aaron, you guys met of course, overseas,
Yeah.
and he started helping you, were you on the ovals then? Or were you on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
road?
that's an oval series in Europe. It's the only one, and yeah, it's not you don't have like the big field. You have some different body types, and it's not like in America.
Okay.
But I really liked it. I feeling very good in this series, and I just wanted to go to America to like run with the big boys.
Euro NASCAR, how did that come about?
Yeah, Euro NASCAR was 2017. I made a test. There was a manager who took me to Italy, to a team, and tested. And yeah, no one knows it that I was like with 18 I drove the 1965.
Yeah.
So there were like a lot of kids in this age drive the GT3 cars. And yeah, so I had rain conditions. I just jumped into the car and I felt very good. And yeah, so I had a good background.
Okay.
And then the team gave me a contract of 2 years. So I had to be in the top 10 first year, second year top 5.
Yeah.
And
So you did
yeah,
your part.
I did my part.
Have you
yeah.
won any? Did you win it over there at all? or did you-
I was not able to win
Yeah,
it.
okay.
I was just like the rookie, the complete underdog, and
Alright.
yeah.
What's the one thing you learned though when you got into the Euro NASCAR? Biggest thing
That's
you
like
learned?
the biggest thing learned was everything around the racetrack, like medias, with being with fans. All those that was like completely new for me. Yeah.
What part did you like the best?
On racing.
On the non-racing part of the
On the
you had mentioned.
non-racing, the fans.
Okay.
That was something cool. Like
Alright.
having fans, having kids around, and that was something really cool.
Just remember, there's some kid watching you that wants to be you one day. Remember that.
That I tried to build a bridge now from Europe to America.
Okay.
And
So how did that come about? So Aaron helps you out
yeah,
when you're racing over there, and now you're here in America, and you've raced late models where here?
in Carway and New Smyrna.
Okay, New Smyrna,
Yeah,
Caraway, yeah.
Carway, yeah.
How'd you like? Now, was it test sessions or were
No,
you
no, that
actual
was
racing?
the first race.
Okay,
That
how'd
was 2019, the first race.
Yep.
Then 2020, New Smyrna, and then I had to fly back
Yeah.
to Europe.
COVID,
and
yeah.
they closed me.
They closed you
They
down.
closed it down.
Closed you in.
Yeah.
What was the biggest difference between racing in Luxembourg and racing against the USA drivers?
Yeah, I think the competition. Yeah, like
How
it's
so? How so?
a level like wow. I just coming like everything you play in Europe, like making others a little nervous and everything playing around. You just came to America and you forget about everything you learn about this. You just come in and no, the level is just like a high level.
Perfect. So what are your plans now that you're here with us for a while?
Now I try to be like the most time into a car. If it's a modified or the late model, just being in the car, doing laps, getting experience, and yeah.
So what's your ultimate goal?
I want to be the first full-time NASCAR driver, the first European, but competitive, not
competitive,
just,
yeah.
not just being there and say hello.
I'm a European
I'm
driver.
a European driver.
I'm Gil Gil.
Yeah.
Call me Joe Minster.
Yeah.
I'm from Luxembourg. So how do you think you're gonna have to do that? What steps? Just learn as you go, and then look for new opportunities to move up the ladder.
Yeah, that's it. Like starting in late model, like the drivers right now, they start like with 30, 40 years, and I have to start right now.
Right.
So doing step by step, learning driving in the late model series, setting up a car, like learning everything around, and then everything around, learning the language, learning to work with the.
You're doing pretty good with the language. You're doing pretty
Yeah,
good there.
but
That's all right.
yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
And
So have you talked to a Southern?
sorry.
Have you talked to a Southern person yet that has the accents to go with your accent?
Oh,
or,
yeah.
Or does we all sound alike to you?
Yeah, I can. I'm not the best position to for the moment. I wanted to buy a car. Rental cars are like expensive,
All right.
and yeah, I recognized the moment when I come in and I say hello. They just okay. He's not from here. You're gonna pay something more.
Oh, it shouldn't be like that. So your goals are now to get more experience late model,
Yeah.
working on the cars and learning all you can, right?
Yeah.
And so with the garage shop and Aaron, this is where you decided to make your home to do that.
Yeah, I think as a driver, normally I talk for a lot
Yeah.
of drivers in Europe. You come, you sit into the car, try to do your best, set it a little bit up, and then you go home, like on a lot of race teams. But here they build cars, so I see really what's going on around.
So what do you think of the Talladega and the Dodge Daytona?
That's-
You like?
That's something special. for me, like I have no experience at all in this area. It's like wow.
Yeah.
And I saw those cars 1.5 years ago when they started, and wow. Now to see the product, it's just like, yeah, that's crazy.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. Well, we'll be following your career, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
We've had some great shows, some great information, some great interviews. We're going to continue now with Sean Stewart from the United States Motorsports Association and the U.S. What do you call it? United States
U.S. Motorsports Association.
Perfect.
USMA.
The
Let's make it
USMA.
easy.
That was
There
good.
you go.
USMA. Thank you. Advocate for all forms of motorsports across the United States. Tell us about what you guys do.
So we're an advocacy group. We do governmental affairs work. We do research, economic data, that kind of thing. Our main goal is to put all of racing under one banner. So all 50 states, all forms of racing, from snowmobiles to late models to pavement to whatever it is. We can all fall under one banner, and then we do a lot of connecting the dots, so to speak, between a racing community and a local state official, which is mostly where we work. We work on some federal level issues as well, but primarily it's the grassroots side of racing. We like to say we get in the weeds and get that county commissioner to know his racetrack with a goal of knowing them before an issue comes up rather than getting to know each other when there's something bad going on.
So as myself being a former short track promoter for 3 years, once in a while the local town would want to have a discussion with you about, let's say it was noise or time. So you guys would step in and help out with that, or you would give them information and data, the track, so they could provide them with a town, or even get involved directly.
Exactly. So we would all of those things. So you got it right. You've lived it. By the way, we call it sound, not noise. It's the
Sorry, you're right,
the,
yeah.
the sound of economic impact. Is
That
what
was
we
the
call
that
it.
was the official name of
Yeah.
noise. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Ordinance.
so you've lived it, right? And a lot of these tracks, they can't afford an attorney or a big government affairs consultant. So we have a team of people led by a guy named Robert Johnson, who's our government affairs director, and he'll field that call and he'll really take an issue on what it is. We've solved problems for Summit Motorsports Park, the drag strip, with a light pole issue, driveway issues, transportation, noise issues, all those kinds of things. So again, that small track can call us. We'll help them out, typically at no charge. And really the goal is to keep them going, to help them out with issues they don't normally face. But the real goal is to get those guys knowing their local officials before an issue, so there's already a relationship there before we have to step in.
Because, you said the economic impact. I know for a fact that when big races are held, that people come from out of town, they get the hotels, they stop and buy food, gas, beer. They go to the local restaurants, grocery stores. So I know the impact even on a weekly basis, because even those weekly tracks and racers are going buying parts and things locally. So it goes beyond just, hey, show up Friday, Saturday night. We're going to drag on Friday, circle track on Saturday. There's a lot that goes behind that, and you're the ones that have the information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, for example, we just completed a study for Lucas Oil Speedway, which sits in Wheatland, Missouri. It's literally in the middle of a farmland. It's a $27 million impact to that
Wow.
to that state annually, and that's because of all the things you just mentioned, the hotels, the things. So there's a chain of events where racers come from as far as California to that track and spend money all the way there, to and from, in and out of the state, and all of that money gets left and contributes. So certainly we know the big events and, the Indy 500 and all
Sure.
those kinds of things. But we've got thousands of events going on across the country that are driving economic impact and jobs and all of those kinds of things.
So if a track was having maybe an issue with some people in town, or a group that says, hey, enough of this, or what, I'm just giving them examples, they would contact you to kind of help them out to maybe bridge the gap and educate the residents. Go like, well, I'm a taxpayer. Then it's like, well, so's the track, but I bet we're paying more than you. So you would kind of give the information so everyone has a better understanding.
Yeah, what we do is we tell the story of motorsports. So, a lot of times it's the one or two letters that are coming in for a noise issue, say. But we'll rally the troops. So through our database, we've got 150,000 registered members.
Really?
And so
Wow.
the goal there is that if you had an issue at the track you used to run, maybe the local drag racing guys don't know anything about your track, but when they get our email that says, hey, Tim's having a problem
Right.
at his track, let's talk to the county commissioners. And what happens a lot is they don't know. They don't understand our sport. So if we try to put ourselves in the government official shoes. They look at, we got noise complaint. They assume that one letter means the whole town hates the track.
Yeah. Yep.
A lot of times we'll come in and say, well, did you know all the businesses that are affected? And pretty soon the business owners are like, hey, we don't want anything bad to happen to that track. And then they realize, all right, there's a lot more people here that actually like the track than the one person writing the letter. The other piece of that's just telling our story, explaining the economics, or coming up with some type of solution that, hey, maybe you can't run till 2 a.m. and we do got to cut it off at midnight.
yeah.
So we get a lot of those calls too. We educate within our own industry, but we're kind of the mediator, if you will.
Okay.
So, we try to come in and draw that mediation between the issue and then really get the economics behind it, tell a good story, and then try to get a good solution out of it.
I wish I would have known about you guys a couple of years ago. I did it all myself. And it's nice to know to have a friend in your corner. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's it. You're running the track and doing all those things that go with that, and you're not. That's kind of our fault though. Over the years, we've sort of ignored politics or ignored being a community player. But if you think about an arena, a sports arena that's in a town, they're a big community participant. And we've got to get our tracks to say, hey, I need to go down and know my commissioners. I think, too, we get lost in national politics, and we just don't want anything to do with it. But the local county commissioner, the mayor, those are folks that usually own businesses in town and that kind of thing as well. So they're very approachable, and, we really want that relationship established before there's an issue rather than meeting them for the first time over a noise issue. Yeah.
Like I did at the council meeting. What is your background in motorsports? How did you come to be part of this?
So I've done a lot of different things in motorsports, from being a PA announcer to doing a little bit of go-kart racing way back when myself. Grew up in Southern California in a town called El Cajon, made famous by Jimmy Johnson.
Yep.
So we actually went to rival high schools and knew each other in high school, but decided to, I got involved in motorsports out west, everything from sports car to off-road, then decided to make the trek back to North Carolina, give it a year, and that was 18 years ago or something. So,
It goes one of two ways, Sean.
Yeah,
You stick around or you're out of town.
And Tim, it's like I never thought I'd be involved in politics
Yeah.
and doing all this, started working with the North Carolina Motorsports Association.
Good.
And then really it was a coalition of companies that kind of came together, and we had an informal meeting. They said, well, who's going to run the day-to-day stuff? And they all looked at me and said, it's going to be you.
Did you have your hand up, or did you flinch? What did they?
I was honored to do it, but
Right.
yeah, I was the room of people there. I was the odd man out. They're like, you're going to go to work on this. So I recruited others, and away we went.
Who supports? I mean, you said that sometimes you'll do things, gratis. So somewhere you're getting support from somewhere in the motorsports community.
Yeah, absolutely. We are primarily supported by corporations. So we started about 7 years ago. A coalition of companies came together to get us founded. So Optima Batteries, Safety Clean, eBay Motors, Lucas Oil, really saw that, hey, we need to help those that need the help. And then we started building that database. So we're a little bit unique. We didn't start off with, $100 memberships and that kind of thing. We just wanted everybody. Racers don't like to pay for anything that doesn't make them go faster. So,
But darn it, you better pay them.
yeah, exactly. So you ran a track. So we said we want them in the database, though.
Right.
That was more important to us. So we've grown that, and now we're starting to roll out other types of memberships and stuff.
Such as?
We're going to have more of an individual membership that'll be upgraded with discounts and some of those kinds of things that we're looking at. But primarily, we get supported by the corporations. Some tracks through COVID, we started some different groups. So we have
Yeah.
a drag racing leadership team that's owners and presidents and promoters of drag strips all across the country. They get together on a call once a month,
Good.
and they pay a membership fee, and then we help kind of administer those calls. We've got a circle track group, and really just trying to take our industry again. Drag strips, they're all doing their own thing. This lets them pause for an hour once a month, get together on a high level, and really discuss and come up with some good solutions and things that other industries do naturally. I think for whatever reason we've kind of turned our back and tried to hide out, and it hasn't favored us. So it's time to, get and do a little advocacy for
good.
ourselves.
And that's good. And I see eBay Motors is on your hat there, and there might be a sign hanging behind us with these two great cars. Yeah, that one.
There is a sign over there. How coincidental.
I know. I just happened to notice it.
Yeah. eBay Motors has been a great supporter of ours. Obviously, there's like 80 million parts on eBay right
Wow.
now.
Yeah.
So just anything you need from a screwdriver to a transmission is there. And they just saw the opportunity to get involved really in the grassroots side.
Good.
That's where most of their users are, and so they wanted to support grassroots racing a lot more. They were involved in some bigger forms of racing, but decided to shift those funds and really go down to the grassroots stuff.
So, someone watching wants to join or learn more about?
Yeah, the best
become
way to go
involved?
is the easiest way to remember is just to go to saveracing.com.
SaveRacing.com.
SaveRacing.com. You can go there. It's free to register.
Okay.
It takes about 2 minutes. And again, we don't send you a bunch of junk, but we keep you informed whether it's a national issue or whether it's something in a very specific zip code. We let you know what's going on and how you can help.
And plus, I guess it has a good sense of accomplishment once you do get through an issue with someone and help resolve it or come to a mutual understanding. Then that helps you for the next one, and you can also say, "Hey, we were able to, like a testimonial, help them out. We'd like to help you."
Absolutely, and that's a great point. We have had some good wins along the way. Some of them aren't national news, but even up in Summit Motorsports Park, for example, they were going to have to take 2 light poles down at the end of their drag strip, which meant they were going to lose their NHRA race, which meant he was going to close the track, and he wasn't bluffing.
Who wanted them down?
There's an adjacent airport to the track, so they said that it was an obstruction to the pilots.
Okay.
However, there's 100-foot trees all around there.
Right.
The track is taking care and funding the airport that
Got
has
it.
200 takeoff and landings
Right.
a year, which is like nothing. So you start to peel the onion back, and you
Yeah.
discover there was actually 3 guys in a hangar that had nothing to do all day but complain about the racetrack.
Beautiful.
To the point where they were doing flyovers during the races and trying to buzz the scoring towers
Beautiful.
just to annoy the track. Yeah, so
Oh.
that seems more dangerous than
Hello, Maverick.
so yeah, Robert Johnson, who's our government affairs director, he's a very creative guy, but he can kind of listen to the track, understand their world, and then go back and say, how do we do this? So I can't go into it all, but we.
No, I get it. That's fine.
Sometimes if you can't get through the front door of the Capitol, you find your way through the back door,
Perfect.
and which is what he did, and we got the governor's ear, who who we also did a lot of the economic impact study. It's a $100 million impact
Wow.
to the small town of Norwalk.
And they go, oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, the head of the Department of Transportation for the state of Ohio made a call. And interestingly, we had a big meeting at the track, and the local guy who was kind of giving the track a hard time was not at that meeting, but the head of the Department of Transportation came down. They had him put some beacons on the lights, and away it all went.
Everyone was
So
happy.
Everyone was happy.
All that work for 2 light poles.
Yeah,
But it's part of what you got to do.
So what happens is, we get these tracks kind of fighting with the community over some issue, and more times than not, and that's kind of what we do. We just take a step back and look at it. We're not involved in the day-to-day grind or the politics of that area. And all right, how do we mitigate this? How do we get this solved?
Good. Well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking to us about what you guys do. The United States Motorsports Association. Good thing he's wearing it on his.
SaveRacing.com.
SaveRacing.com. Get in touch with him. Sean, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Keep up
Tim.
the great work. We appreciate it.
And thanks for all you guys are doing here. It's really great stuff.
Thanks.